Devin, thank you so much. Well, backcountry skier is incredibly lucky to be alive after triggering an avalanche. This was in Little Cottonwood Canyon after getting swept down in what one witness called unsurvivable terrain.
Yeah, news specialist Brianna Chavez with more on what we know about what happened.
With sunny skies across the Wasatch Front this weekend, the Utah Avalanche Center says the appeal to go backcountry skiing is there.
When it is actively snowing, 4 to 6 feet, it's pretty in your face. That's like peak instability during the storms. But the most accidents happen following peak instability.
Which is what's happening now. Over the weekend, the Utah Avalanche Center says close to 40 avalanches were reported to them this weekend, many of them human-caused, including one near the Lisa Falls area in Little Cottonwood Canyon. Sunday afternoon, Chopper 5 saw search and rescue crews on hand.
This was a heavily wind-loaded area. The skier triggered an avalanche, was caught, carried, and sustained injuries. A party uninvolved with the solo skier did assist.
Life Flight and DPS were able to get the skier to safety. Avalanche forecaster Nikki Champion says conditions right now are a textbook setup for human-triggered avalanches to happen.
It's not like you're going to trigger it on every single slope across the board, but if you do trigger it, it's going to be like a really deep, a really deadly, and a really consequential avalanche.
Champion is encouraging backcountry skiers to stay out of avalanche terrain to make sure everyone makes it home safely.
Just give it a little bit more time. We're trending in the right direction. We're going to be there soon.
And Champion says that if you are going to go up the backcountry, to make sure you have all of your avalanche gear with you, and that right now, low-angled slopes are really great for riding. The skier in the incident said that he took a ride that should have killed him twice over, and he hopes that other people will learn from his mistake. In Little Cottonwood Canyon, Brianna Chavez, KSL-5 News.
Brianna, thank you for that report. We are learning more about the rescue.
KSL Today starts now.
If you do trigger it, it's going to be like a really deep, a really deadly, and a really consequential avalanche.
This morning, a warning from avalanche experts after a skier was hurt in a slide in Little Cottonwood Canyon.
Plus, a reminder from firefighters.
Good. Just 40 minutes from Provo. Lori?
Amy, thank you. This morning, a backcountry skier is alive after triggering an avalanche in Little Cottonwood Canyon in what one witness called unsurvivable terrain.
Yeah, news specialist Kara Bracken joins us now live. Kara, this one of several avalanches over the weekend. Tell us about it. What happened?
Hey, good morning to you both. Yeah, 40 avalanches, nearly that number, were reported over this weekend. Now, we're hearing from one of the avalanche forecasters, and they say right now conditions, they are textbook-like, making for the perfect time for an avalanche to happen. Now, I want to tell you about one of them that happened over the weekend. One of them happened near Lisa Falls, that area in Little Cottonwood Canyon. Life Flight and DPS was able to get the skier to safety. We are told the skier broke several ribs and bones in his face. Forecasters are saying this incident should serve as a warning to all backcountry skiers.
When it is actively snowing, 4 to 6 feet, it's pretty in your face. That's like peak instability during the storms. But the most accidents happen following peak instability.
The Utah Avalanche Center is encouraging backcountry skiers to stay out of avalanche terrain. And if you go up to the backcountry, have gear ready to go. Now, the skier in this accident does say that it is something that should have killed him twice over. So he is lucky to be alive, guys.
Wow. All right. Yeah. Breaking bones in his face. My goodness.
Yeah, a good alert for everybody if you're looking to go enjoy the outdoors. Kara, thank you.
Well, we're learning more about the man police arrested after finding several.
You're watching KSL Today.
A backcountry skier is alive after triggering an avalanche in Little Cottonwood Canyon. We are live next.
Phony flores could ruin your
Twilla. Lori?
All right, Amy, thank you. This morning, a backcountry skier is alive, amazingly, after an avalanche was triggered in Little Cottonwood Canyon. And one witness called this an unsurvivable event. It was so massive.
Intense. Kara Bracken joins us now live. Kara, tell us about what happened there. And this wasn't the only avalanche over the weekend, right?
Yeah, that's right. Close to 40 avalanches were reported over this weekend. Now, we're hearing from an avalanche forecaster, and they are saying that right now conditions, they are textbook-like as far as those conditions ready for an avalanche to happen.
It's not like you're going to trigger it on every single slope across the board, but if you do trigger it, it's going to be like a really deep, a really deadly, and a really consequential avalanche.
One of of the avalanches this weekend happened near the Lisa Falls area in Little Cottonwood Canyon. Lifelight and DPS was able to get that skier to safety. We're told the skier broke several ribs and bones in his face. Forecasters are saying this incident should serve as a warning to all backcountry skiers. The Utah Avalanche Center is encouraging backcountry skiers to stay out of avalanche terrain, and if you go up to the backcountry, have gear ready to go. Now, the skier hurt in that avalanche was saying that it was something that should have killed him twice over, so he's wanting this to serve as a message to others to make sure to stay careful, guys.
Yeah, a great alert for everyone. Just because it's so sunny, it's so inviting,
Right.
You still got to be careful.
Kara, thank you.
Developing this morning, we're getting a look.
If you do trigger, it's going to be like a really deep, a really deadly, and a really consequential avalanche.
Also, a warning from avalanche experts after a skier was hurt after they triggered an avalanche.
Nice and dry.
All right, this morning, a backcountry skier is alive after triggering an avalanche in Little Cottonwood Canyon in what one witness called unsurvivable terrain. Happened near the Lisa Falls area in Little Cottonwood Canyon. Lifelight and DPS were able to get the skier to safety. That's the good news. We're told that skier broke several ribs and even a bone in his face.
When it is actively snowing, 4 to 6 feet, it's pretty in your face. That's like peak instability during the storms. But the most accidents happen following peak instability.
The Utah Avalanche Center is encouraging backcountry skiers to stay out of the avalanche terrain. And if you do, make sure you have the gear to keep you safe.
This morning, we're learning more about the man.
Nearly left needy school kids without.
KSL News at 6 starts now.
Good evening. State Elections Office has reprimanded the Utah County Clerk for filling in part of a candidate's form to run for office after the deadline.
Clerk Aaron Davidson admits he made the change, but says the candidate's intent was obvious. News specialist Lindsay Ertz has been digging into this. Lindsay, what happened here?
Yeah, well, Jeannie and Mike, this is all having to do with a seat in the state legislature, Senate District 25. Now, the candidate, Michael Cook, went into the Utah County Clerk's office. He filled out his candidate filing form, but he made several errors on that form, including leaving his party affiliation blank. So the clerk calls him, tries to get him on the phone to say, what is your party affiliation? Well, that's the part that the state elections office has concerns about.
I did fill in the line and I initialed it. I wasn't trying to hide anything. It had been verbally confirmed. The intent was known.
This is the form Utah County Clerk Aaron Davidson amended. You can see the candidate's party is filled in as Republican and initialed by Davidson. He time-stamped at 5:20 p.m. on January 8th after the filing deadline for candidates had closed.
He confirmed to the state that he was running as Republican. So we decided instead of asking him to come back after 5, we would call him.
Davidson says Michael Cook was on speaker while several other people listened, and Cook agreed to let Davidson write in his party affiliation as Republican. But the state elections office says Davidson should not have done that. In a letter obtained by KSL-TV sent from State Elections Director Ryan Kelly, it says that Davidson can only amend a form if a candidate objects, and that didn't happen. It goes on to warn Davidson never to amend or modify a declaration of candidacy form again, and any modifications must be made by the candidate in person and done before the filing period ends.
It was just filling in the intent of what this candidate has stated verbally.
I would not have done that because I would have feared that it did violate state election law.
Current Utah County Commissioner Amelia Powers Gardner is also the county's former clerk.
It's one thing to say that you want to be a Republican, but the form clearly states what political party are you running as a part of, and there's a reason that we have notarized documents.
Do you feel like you accidentally even violated state code?
I don't think it violated state code because he had very specifically stated his intent.
Now, the state elections office will allow Michael Cook to stay on the ballot as a Republican. They say if someone wants to challenge that, that would be the path now. Cook is running for the seat currently held by State Senator Mike McKell of Spanish Fork. Reporting live, I'm Lindsay Ertz. Back to you.
All right, Lindsay, thank you.
Utah lawmaker says she wants to better protect